Rain or shine, here we are. Welcome to Tuesday on the AM show. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. I do this together with Bernice Abubedo Lanza. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you. Well, coming up shortly, the news, and right after that, we'll be joined by the Executive Director, Institute for Education Studies, Dr. Peter Anti. He will be our guest for the news review. And then after that, as we always do, for sports, Muftahu Nabila Abdullah will be walking us through the latest. And right after that, we get into our big stories. Number one on our list, Ghana has deposited the ratified instrument of the African Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation to the African Union Commission at a ceremony at the African Union Commission headquarters in Addis Ababa. Well, Ghana signed the agreement to the convention on the 4th of July 2017, and the agreement was further ratified by the Parliament of Ghana on February 9, 2023. Well, guess what? We've got a conversation with the National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, a former lecturer of mine. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Now, we're also going to be discussing the Liberian election, the presidential election, and the Economic Community of West African States has met the president of Liberia, George Mana Weah. This follows heightened tension after two people died in a clash between the Coalition for Democratic Change and the All Liberia Coalition Party on Sunday. All 20 candidates in the Liberian election have recommitted themselves to a peaceful voting process. We'll get you the latest as Liberians went to the polls yesterday. We'll also get the dynamics about a runoff, a likely runoff. Also coming up this morning, we'll be heading to the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and you know what's going on there. We'll be getting updates on the National Science and Math Quiz. After that, we'll hear from sponsors Goyle. Some major action yesterday. We'll bring you the scoop on that. Also on the show, it's all about the 8th EMY, or Emmy Awards as we call them, coming up this weekend. We'll be sharing details with you as the organizers join us for a breakfast. And finally, at the tail end of the show, we'll allow you to have your say. Share your thoughts with us. But even as we kickstart the show, via the live stream, share your thoughts. Let's know what's on your mind, how we can make the show better for you. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Stay with me. Up next, the news. Welcome now to the News Belt, and we get straight into our first story. 21-year-old Melsa Efia Anochiwa has chosen to work instead of further her education for now so she can help her younger siblings access education. This act has seen her venture into a male-dominated workspace, which is not only challenging her, but to keep being better, but has also inspired her to help others. She shares her story of hope with Hannah Odami.
She's had to put on hold pursuing her education. The aspiring journalist Melsa Efia Anochiwa is now hungry to make money because she has siblings to take care of.
I wanted to become a journalist.
A journalist?
Yes, please.
And so do you still have that ambition, or you've just parked it somewhere?
I still have it, but I parked it because there was no financial support. I lost my dad when I completed SHS. There was no financial support, so I had to stop work and support my mom to take care of my other siblings. And me being the eldest, I think it is a duty for me to help and support the family whenever and however I can.
Right after completing senior high school, she ventured into finding jobs, and she's done quite a lot.
I want to work hard, get money, because I don't want to be dependent on anybody or become a burden or a liability for anybody. So I want to work hard, make ends meet for myself, and also get something to support the family.
Her hard work in customer service earned her a spot from one good company to another.
Well, on our next story, the Allied Health Professions Council has begun a clampdown on quack healthcare facilities and unregistered practitioners across the country. The Health Professions Regulatory Bodies Act 857 of 2013 empowers the council to enforce compliance of the highest healthcare standards. Well, the council says the new crackdown targeted at laboratories will eliminate quacks from Ghana's healthcare system. There's more in this report.
Led by the Deputy Communication Director of the Allied Health Professions Council, AHPC, Kweku Broby, the monitoring exercise kicked off in the Greater Accra region. The monitoring encompassed equipment, lab infrastructure, and personnel certification. Speaking to Joy News, Deputy Communication Director of AHPC, Kweku Broby, highlighted recommendations provided to facility managers for necessary adjustment.
So far, we have been to 2 facilities, Gan East and then to Medicas here. And from Gan East, I think the outcome was generally good, with the exception of a practitioner who was not very in very good standing, but has taken steps, you know, to renew her registration with the council. I think those were the few issues, and then there were also few structural issues with Gan East. We have discussed this with the management, and they have promised us that they're going to take care of this. Medicas, we have identified a number of issues when we went into the laboratory, and we will be discussing this with the management of the hospital here, of the clinic here in Medina. But of course, we have made a few recommendations, and we'll be coming in again.
Mr. Broby, however, warned of severe sanctions while urging strict adherence to established standards.
This is going to be a major clampdown on people who are practicing, I mean, without the required licenses, without who have not been registered with the council, and of course facilities that are not registered to practice, you know, undertake any allied health service. We giving out this warning to each and every one of them, and we expect that they take, I mean, notice of this, because we'll be coming after each and every one of them who is not in good standing with the council.
Head of Laboratory Services at Gan East Hospital, Martha Jani Lamptey, emphasized the adverse impact of insufficient lab equipment on healthcare delivery.
We have the space for bacteriology, especially. We have some equipment. We are lacking some, and the reagents as a whole. For other disciplines like the biochemistries, we are just doing basic chemistry. We could do a lot, the hormones, the tumor markers, but we don't have the analyzer to do it. So definitely we don't have the reagents as well. It's not helping the clients, I should say. Timely interventions are not readily available for our clients, because they either have to go roaming or we subletting the cases, and we have to wait on those labs to give us the results before our clients can be attended to. So delay in diagnosis and treatment.
Head of Clinical Services at Gan East Hospital, Dr. Roseanne Sogbewocho, appealed to the Ministry of Health for intervention.
It is clearly that no lab can do everything, but the more we can do, the more our people will benefit from that. There are some of these equipments that are so expensive for the facility to buy. There are some reagents that is difficult to get in the market, and it's also so expensive to get. So we are calling our community, philanthropists, donors, supporters who are willing to come to the facility and assist us, so we can get the best and give the best to the community as well.
This monitoring initiative is set to cover the entire country by year end. Carlos Caloni's report for Joy News.
Well, now the Dean of the School of Medicine at the University for Development Studies, Professor Stephen Tabiri, says Ghana needs to take a step towards training more doctors to fill the gap created as a result of the recent exodus of doctors. He spoke during a visit to the Techiman Holy Family Hospital by key members of the department as part of a joint venture to increase the intake of medical students in the university. Correspondent Anas Sabit has more in this report.
In recent years, doctors, nurses and other health professionals are leaving the country in droves to seek greener pastures in countries that pay good money for their services. The situation, according to the Ghana Medical Association, is largely fueled by poor working environment coupled with low pay. a situation president of the GMA says could weaken the health sector if proper measures are not put in place to avoid the act. To help deal with the menace, the School of Medicine at the University for Development Studies is collaborating with the Techiman Holy Family Hospital to train more doctors to help bridge the gap. Professor Stephen Tebiri is the Dean of School of Medicine at the University for Development Studies.
The purpose of this gathering is to look at how we can increase the number of doctors in Ghana for the agenda or the project of providing universal health care for all Ghanaian citizens, irrespective of where you live. In order to achieve that, we need to increase the number of doctors that we are training as a nation every year. How do we do that? One institution alone, one university alone cannot do it. The only way we can do that, and the only way to achieve this, is to work together with the institutions, coming together, looking at the strength of each institution, and then looking at the weakness of each institution, and then come together to support each other in order to increase the number of doctors for Ghanaians.
Professor Stephen Tebiri noted that stopping these health professionals from traveling out of the country would be a difficult thing. However, training more doctors would help address this worrying menace, and in turn, the country would have a substantial number to provide the needed health care to the people.
It's a worrying development, and we cannot also stop them. There will be some mechanism we'll try to stop them, but it may be difficult. The only thing we can do is to increase the numbers. So once we are doing this partnership, that will give us the opportunity to increase the numbers so that even if some are going to leave, we're still going to have a substantial number that will provide the needed health care for Ghanaian citizens.
For the Techiman Holy Family Hospital that is aiming at becoming a teaching hospital of excellence, the partnership would go a long way to help achieve this feat. Dr. Jacqueline Asibe is a senior pediatrician specialist at the facility.
The vision of Holy Family is to be a teaching hospital of excellence. So if we get medical students on board, then it's really in line with our vision. Because the good thing is if we train the medical officers, they become doctors, some would want to come and do their internship there, MOs and specialize. So it's going to be a great one for us. So we get bigger and bigger. And then as is in our vision, we become a teaching hospital of excellence. So it's such a great collaboration for us to get the medical students on board.
Diocesan Archbishop of Techiman, Most Reverend Dominic Yeboanyako, on his part, assured the two institutions of the support of the Techiman Diocese to help realize this dream.
Be assured that Techiman will offer you the best of clinical training experience. Again, be assured of my personal support and the support of the Catholic Diocese of Techiman in the successful implementation of this agreement for our mutual benefits and Ghana at large.
Anna Sabit, Joy News, Techiman.
Well, nurses at the Duong Community Health Planning and Services compound can now heave a sigh of relief after a two-bedroom house was handed to them. The nurses were hitherto staying in rented apartments after a storm collapsed the single room constructed for them. The delivery room at the CHIPS compound was turned into a staff accommodation for a midwife to attend to obstetric emergencies. Rafiq Salam has the rest of the story.
One major challenge faced by nurses posted to rural communities is the lack of accommodation. Most of the CHIPS compounds constructed have little accommodation space for the nurses, forcing them to look for accommodation sometimes far away from the facility. The Duong CHIPS compound is no exception. It was constructed for the community by the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA. The community on their own mobilized to put up this single bedroom to accommodate the nurse in charge, who later collapsed 3 years ago. As a public health nurse and knowing the importance of accommodation to the work of nurses, Queen Mother of the Duong traditional area, Pona Rosemary Bangzie, mobilized resources for the construction of a two-bedroom house to accommodate the nurses. With support from individuals and USAID, she was able to achieve her target.
It will interest you to know that the nurses in Duon Chiefs compound have been running the facility for over 5 years without staff accommodation, because the only staff accommodation that was there was washed away by one heavy rainstorm in 2018. Since then, majority of the nurses reside in the community, and some staff who were posted to the community rejected the postings due to accommodation challenges. Since then, our delivery room has been turned into a staff accommodation just for a midwife to stay closer in case of any obstetric emergency, especially in the night.
Our Social Minister, Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali, urged other Queen mothers in the region to emulate the example of the Duon Queen mother by initiating similar projects to improve healthcare delivery in their respective areas.
The exceptional leadership of Borna, Rosemary, which has provided the community with this new facility to accommodate the health personnel stationed here, is exemplary and worthy of emulation across the region. I therefore urge the other Queen mothers who are here to grace the occasion to also initiate such an initiative.
Deputy Country USAID OT representative Dalia Haj Omar spoke of the projects embarked on by his outfit aimed at bettering the lives of the people.
USAID's Littorals Regional Initiative, or LRI, started programming in northern Ghana in April of 2021. We recognize that conflict dynamics in this region, such as intra-Muslim tensions, farmer-herder conflicts, and land and chieftaincy disputes, threaten the region's peace and stability. We are here to help local partners in the north strengthen community cohesion and to build their capacity to help them identify vulnerabilities and take initiative to resolve local issues peacefully.
Our Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Damien Powiri, spoke of the benefits that the people will derive from the project.
The region currently has 312 CHIPS compounds, which happen to be the highest in the country for now. Over the past few years, the Regional Health Administration has worked with stakeholders to expand access to CHIPS services to every part of this region. As of June this year, the region achieves 100% CHIPS functionality. This means that every person living in the region has access to a well-trained community health officer within 5-kilometer radius. However, one key challenge that is facing the 24-hour availability of CHOs in the CHIPS zones is the availability of staff accommodation. For instance, only 62% of these numbers that I mentioned earlier of CHIPS compounds in the region have at least just one staff accommodation. In the absence of staff accommodation, the staff have to commute daily to their workplaces, meaning they will not be available, especially at critical times like in the night.
Reporting for the news, Rafik Salam, Rome.
And in the National Science and Math Quiz, Archbishop Portergall's SHS whisked a last-minute slot to join 80 other schools at the 1A stage following a tie-breaker round against the St. Monica's SHS. The two schools were tied after losing their main contest, but had a chance to qualify as one of the 12 losing schools with good scores. Jacqueline Ansumaya-Bois reports.
Of peace, lot of strength in the name of Jesus.
I'm speaking to one of the contestants right now to find out more. How are you feeling now? I realized you were very tense on stage. Just tell me more about it.
Well, even though I was very tense, I knew and I believed that God was going to make a way. So all we need was our effort. So we pushed through, and with God on our side, we were able to win this tiebreaker contest.
Well, it took you guys 3 questions for you to get the answer right. What do you have to say about that moving forward? Because there were a lot of noise behind. There are a lot of people saying that, is it possible that when the chance is given to you guys, you'd be able to live up to it? What do you have to say about that?
Yes, we live up to the chance given to us because we've actually worked for this. It was a mistake that happened at the preliminary stage that we lost with 1 point. But God has given us the second chance to come back. And this time we are going to prepare very well to meet up to the expectations of our school.
Well, moving up in the contest, you're going to meet other bigger schools. Well, we have Every Girls with like 52 points. Other schools, they have like 66 points and other points that it's very high. Do you think you'd be able to contend with that moving forward?
We believe in God and in ourselves that if we put in more effort, we are going to get there. So all we have to do is to just work hard and to pray to God, and we believe that we are going to do it and we are going to make it.
So we just heard from the student at Archbishop Potter's Girls, and I am right here with one of their teachers. Tell me how you feel right now. It was a tense moment up there. How do you feel?
In fact, it wasn't easy waiting till this time, and in fact, God has really made it for us. When we're coming, at least you see that victory was all over us.
It took like 3 questions before your girls got it right. At that moment, how did you feel? The first one was wrong, the second one was wrong. Then we got to the third one. How did you feel in those moments?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but I knew definitely we'll go through.
But moving forward, what should we expect from Archbishop Potter Girls?
We are praying we'll get to. That is our main aim, is to be seeded. That's our first objective. So definitely we'll get there.
Once you are being seeded, do you think that your school would be able to become one of the first ever female schools to be crowned as the National Science and Maths Quiz winner?
Definitely. For this year, that is our target. We want Archbishop Potter Girls to be the first girls' school to win the National Science and Maths Quiz, and we'll definitely get there.
Well, we just heard from a teacher from Archbishop Potter's Girls, and he is saying that he's very optimistic about the performance of his girls, and that moving forward, his school will become one of the first female schools to win the National Science and Maths Quiz. Still right here at Sarah Mensah Hall, I am Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
It's a wrap now on the AM News. Up next, I'm joined by Dr. Peter Anti for the news review. Do stay. Well, thank you for staying with us. Time now for us to slice and dice the newspapers. The segment is always brought to us courtesy of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Here's what they're offering you if you're a man. Prostate screening, gratis, for free. You won't pay anything. If you're a woman, fertility screening, and you won't pay zilch. You'll pay nothing. So just make your way to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And the good thing is they're dotted all across the country. Here in Accra, they're at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. There's Kumasi Kronuma Boy here behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22. There's Techiman Hanswa and Esiama and Zima. If you'd like to call them, which I suggest you do, the numbers are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But joining us this morning, not Dr. Peter Anti, we have Afil Moni, former president of the Ghana Journalists Association. He's with us once more in the studio. Put it there. Thank you, sir. I hope you're well.
By His grace, I'm doing very well.
If you can tell that I sound tired and all of that is because ECG has decided over the last 2 days to stick it into my neck.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. And it's not a general blackout. No, it's not a neighborhood blackout. It's just me. and a number of people in other communities. So you know what? Yesterday, interestingly, I spoke to the MD of ECG, Samuel Dubik Mahama. And later in the day, I gave him a personal call about my situation. It couldn't be remedied. So I have my money. I've paid through the app. Have tried their vendors. The networks are down. And so guess what? If you can't purchase electricity credits with your prepaid meter, what happens?
And we're condemned to live in
so
darkness.
My stuff in my freezer, my fridge.
Life without electricity is hellish, to say the least.
If you can tell from my shirt this morning, it's not properly.
But you're looking good all the same.
Yes, we try. So the luck is having some shirts that are hanging in my wardrobe so that even when you don't iron them, you can. But I had to literally find, ingenious ways of charging my phones before being able to come here this morning. And you ask yourself, what kind of country is this? He was saying I shouldn't bash them, but I'm sorry, Mr. Mahama, when things are like this, and I'm not alone. There are so many people in my situation, those using I think it's called Camstrap 2, And yesterday, the runaround I had to do, going to Roman Ridge, ECG and other places, nothing. How can we, what kind of country is this? Well, in a country like this, when people talk about paying more taxes, I look at them with, as we say, a bombastic side eye, like, what do you mean?
I believe the authorities are listening, and they will address yours and others with urgent promptitude.
I know people with cold stores, barbershops. If you can't top up, how do you work?
Serious.
So this morning, after the show, I'll give him another call, and I'm going to post a few things on social media, Mr. Dubik Mahama. I'm not threatening you. I'm merely saying that your people should do their work and not expect to be mollycoddled or, treated with kid gloves. Do your work. You're doing fantastic, like I said yesterday. But if people can't purchase electricity, power, when they have the money and they pay through your app and it's still pending and all of that, it creates a problem. Yesterday, he was trying to tell me that, but ECG doesn't have a network. They fall on, of course, some of these network providers.
MTN
that's not my wahala.
No.
You enter into agreements with them. You ensure that they are delivering the services you need. You have the contracts with them. He explained there were some contracts from the past. That's not my problem. You see, that's what we don't get in this country.
Value for money.
If this show doesn't happen, if it doesn't take off, if the right things are not done on the show, people will skip the questions and why was the show not done? Why did this not happen? That's it.
Certainly, yes.
They don't care whether you slept rough, whether you traveled and got into town late,
none of their business.
whether you didn't have electricity. No. All these things I'm talking about, no one cares. All we care about is the show is going on.
Sure.
So that is the same, and that is responsibility. And I don't know. In our country, we're always trying to pass the buck. Always. And it's sad.
But in this instance, I believe the ECG will proactively address this issue.
So if I don't get light today, I think I might take further action and see what happens from there. Because you can't deny me. It's not a general blackout that I would say, oh, it's a common problem. There's a transformer blown somewhere or something of the sort. But before we get into the papers, Mr. Money, this other subject, you've been former president of the GJA, and of course, you didn't miss the UTV incident. Yesterday, I heard that Kojo Oponkrobah, the information minister, wanted to speak on the matter. But what is your take? The GJA responded. He sent another response that the GJA got it wrong and all of that. So the storming of the place, party people involved, Dagmar FM, and the response vis-a-vis this.
To cite.
What is your take? And is the media, is there a subtle attempt to muzzle the media? You share.
Very unfortunate, and already our image as a beacon of democratic accomplishment in Africa and a reference point in terms of media freedom is bleeding, and bleeding profusely. And the only way to stanch the blood flow is for justice to be done. We hear 16 people have been arrested.
I hear there were about 30 of them.
So 16 arrested. And we expect nothing but speedy prosecution of this case. And the perpetrators who willfully found themselves on the wrong side of the law should be made to taste the mighty edge of the law. So this is what I expect from. And
you know some of the interesting stuff I've heard. But these people were not sanctioned by. Do you know prior to this incident, there was a letter written to the show.
So a show,
basically telling them.
Yeah.
What is that? Media censorship? And after that, you have the information minister in his last paragraph address and media, especially broadcast show hosts, like we're doing here, must sort of watch it and foster national cohesion. What are we fostering? National disunity?
And he is a journalist. Once a journalist, always a journalist, and he's a satire minister, and of course, we like the speed with which he responded, and some will fault him for not biting enough in his statement. I believe this is a beef DJ has with him, and he's hit back to accuse the DJ of attempting to play to the gallery and not understanding the essence of the statement Honorable Kojo Ponkoma issued.
Did you get the essence of his statement?
Honestly, I digested the statement, and I like the speed, but at the same time, you could see that there was an attempt to be cautious. He was torn between the devil and the deep blue sea.
Where the devil is what? One of them is definitely party.
Yes, one of them is definitely party. So, but I believe this should not obscure the fact that it's a very serious offense, and our laws should be activated to deal surgically with this issue. We always complain about our precipitous decline on the World Press Freedom Index.
Yeah. And that's what's been on my mind since all of this has been going on. Because we're going to decline again.
We're going to decline again, obviously, because the scoring will start in January. And they take account of what has happened throughout the year. And I believe the four incidents we mentioned, the Tommy of a Dagbon FM, Brinya FM, and they all come into play. And then the end result is that Ghana will exponentially
drop in the ranking.
And then this will affect our image. And we have our image to protect. And one way of protecting this image to ensure that press freedom is not theoretically adhered to, but practically respected. Because, it said that democracy is impossible without a free press. It is ingrained in theory and rooted in practice. And so if a democracy is shiny, it's because the media have made it so.
Yeah.
And so the media should be the last to be targeted in terms of violence. And we also ought to bear in mind, always lodge at the back of our memory at all times, that intolerance and impunity are the causal factors in this incident at UTB. And one thing about intolerance is that it's an enemy to unity, cohesion, to borrow Honorable Oponkuma's word, enemy to unity, and then it's a drawback to national development. And intolerance and impunity also cuts from the crowd of, and so this will serve as a pedagogue for all of us to learn from what has happened. Because we stand to lose if we don't respect the media. And we'll continue to draw back when people are so intolerant that they'll have the audacity to write to a media organization ordering them how
to run their show.
How to run their show. And this is and what about impunity? Again, what about impunity? If it's not addressed from the root, then ignite a self-propelling and re-energizing cycle, which then becomes hellishly difficult.
If some can engage in impunity, I mean, like we say, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So others will also feel enabled by that to engage in impunity. And all sorts of impunity are taking place,
all sorts of impunity,
you know, in the country at this point in time. But let's quickly get into the papers. I would like to start with the papers that you have.
Cecilia Dapa is...
that's the Daily Guide newspaper.
The Daily Guide. Cecilia Dapa fights OSP, Flessia Mazel, and according to her statement and her lawyers, she's broke and she needs the case to be expeditiously dealt with so that she will have some money to...
She's also expressed a bit about her deceased brother's account spending. She says the money was supposedly for children's school fees and all that. And I mean, amazing stuff will never stop happening in this country. So, I mean, but she's made her point. We'll see
she's made a point. She's made a point.
The courts will react, or the OSP will also react.
Her point has struck
a chord?
Wrong cross.
Okay.
And the backlash, as usual, is not in her favor. So I don't know who advised her to go on that tangent.
She says she's broke. Interesting.
And that's why the question, and the huge question.
But we are not in her pocket. So.
Certainly we are not in her pocket, but
even in the law, you know, there are different kinds of brokenness, if you like. Someone's broke is not another person. It's very different from another person's.
But given
state of
who she is and her financial backbone, one will take this with a pinch of salt. And this is there's a very interesting story by Occupy Ghana.
Okay.
Calling for a law to deal with acts of intimidation, monetization, and some of the offenses which characterize electioneering in this country. And monocracy is eating deep into our political space.
You know what that reminds me of? Professor Frimpong Boateng. I think it was just recently that he put that bit out about his own party and how money had eaten into the party to the point where certain people were being pushed simply because of money and what establishment wanted.
And we should not play the ostrich. This is very serious, very serious. Now people are elected not because of who they are, either the professional solidity or because of the integrity, but how deep their pocket is. And this is affecting quality men and women are shying away from contesting elected positions because of the monetary factor.
But Afil, would you put yourself on the chopping board? I mean, there are people who have spoken to me about certain things, but you ask yourself, with how politics is conducted in this country, the vitriol, the lack of intellectual debate. It's not intellectual, it's about who has the sharper mouth, who can insult more, who can... It's about the very base things, rather than having a very enlightened conversation on ideas. Okay, you think this way, but I think that way, like you would find in the more advanced democracies. And we keep saying, oh, they are more advanced, but when will we ever get there if we don't attempt getting there? You organize presidential debates in this country and some will shy away. I mean, and then we've seen some of them and their delivery, you know, so it's mind-boggling. It's all about, like you said, money, show of power rather than the quality of thinking
and ability to deliver,
and maybe even moral integrity. That's something else that we seem not to pay attention to in this country. Anyone can come and, let me not use those words.
So what's happened reinforces the fact that a moral center as a nation is either gone,
I would say it's lost.
Dangerously weak. So we need to do something about this, and let's hope Occupy Ghana will receive the push, receive the support it needs to ensure that this bill is passed into law. We have a story about 3 workers dying under tragic circumstances in underground tank in the eastern region, and we mourn with the bereaved families. These students have happened, but this should serve as a warning to people who undertake risky ventures, So their lives are very, very important. You cannot put a price tag on a single life.
Definitely not.
And the Ghanaian Times is elated about where to start on the Abetibi-Lamte interchange. This is a very important interchange which has witnessed a stall in work as a result of funding challenges. We are told that our country's financial situation has affected the completion of this project, and we hope that the $600 million, which IMF intends to inject into the economy, will also ensure that contractors are sorted out, so that they will pay attention to this project, which is of supreme importance as far as commuting from one side of the town to another is concerned. So we expect the media to also sharpen their focus on this project, other projects, vital projects which have stalled as a result of funding challenges.
Right.
And we also have a story on the front page of Ghanaian Times, FAO calling for concerted effort in managing water resources. One thing which springs to mind is the Galamsey menace. Our water bodies are almost gone. Turbidity levels, nothing to write home about. And Galamsey practice is in full swing in all parts of the country.
I don't even get it when sometimes you have the president and other stakeholders go, apart from a pocket of people who will be arrested every now and then and given hefty sentences. I mean, do we not see the others there, the expats, among others, still engaging in Galamsey? Do we not see them? Do we not see what our water bodies are turning into? And they'll go to other countries and be making outrageous, claims. I'm getting so infuriated with our national life and everything going on. It's almost as though there were no law. Or if the law applied, it applied only to a distinct group of people, while some others could get away with murder.
Recently, the law was applied, which ensured that a number of Galamseyers.
The recent one, I think they got about 250.
Been sentenced to long jail terms. But the rare financiers have escaped the net of justice. So this is something we need to tackle.
And you know why? Because the real financiers also find themselves, in many ways, in power.
Sure.
At any given time.
At any given time. They know how to play their game, make sure they sort out the leading parties. So they are always insulated from tasting the biting edge of the law. This is something we need to... Again, I spoke to the chairman of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Engineer Dr. Ashigbe, and he seems to be frustrated, and
he will be.
He's visibly frustrated, and because you push and you come face to face with blocks erected by officialdom, and this makes it hellishly difficult to pursue the advocacy against Galamsey. But this, as media personnel, we are used to such blocks, so we should use the power we wield and the influence we peddle to fight all the impediment in the way of Galamsey.
All right. Let's quickly get into this next stack of papers and wrap. I'll also go on the international front and bring some interesting stories to your attention, Afil Money. But the Daily Graphic, achieving economic stability, efficient tax utilization key. That's according to Professor Bokpin, speaking at the Graphic Business Twitter X Spaces Dialogue and Twitter or X Spaces Dialogue. Economist and Professor of Finance at the University of Ghana, Professor Godfred Bokpin, wants the government to strike a fine balance between government's operational cost and growth, enhancing spending. The Economist explained that the country's underdevelopment was not the result of inadequate collection of taxes, but about efficient tax management. Sharing his perspectives on the IMF's review of the Ghanaian economy on Graphic Business at X Spaces Dialogue, series yesterday. Professor Bokmin compared the country's tax to gross domestic product ratio to Malaysia and Singapore. Those countries, he said, had the comparable GDP to tax ratio of about 16% as Ghana, which was around 13%. However, their level of development as compared to Ghana's was better because of course, efficient tax utilization. So you see, there's always the talk about, but we collect this, percentage when it comes to taxes. And he's comparing us to the same countries that are far advanced, same countries who were on the same, pegging with Malaysia and Singapore. Can we compare ourselves to them? But their tax ratio, about 16%, compared to our tax ratio, about 13%, is none too different. Look at what they are doing versus what we are doing. Those are the concerns. I'll give you the opportunity to react to them. Let me just put them together. Neonatal infant mortality rates reduce. Applause for that. Energy Minister calls for sub-regional energy transition policy. And property rate portal accrues 20 million Ghana cedis in 3 months. But other stories I wanted to highlight for you on pages 5 and 9. So, Ouattara removes Prime Minister, dissolves government. Cote d'Ivoire's President Alassane Ouattara has removed the Prime Minister and dissolved his government. The presidency's Secretary General, Abdurrahman Sisi, has said no reason was provided for the unexpected move. I don't know whether he shouldn't have been dissolved himself after seeking an illegal third term. Illegal third term. And our African leaders will sit down. God forbid something happening. Then they will come and say, these things should not happen. But when these things happen, they will not say, they will attend the swearing-in ceremonies. On page 9, Israel vows complete siege of Gaza as it strikes. I don't want to get into all the details, but I'm sure you followed the stories. And people are saying that this has never happened. It was on the cusp of the anniversary of Yom Kippur. Going back to some 50 years ago, when that first assault happened, and the Israelis prevailed. And this time, it has happened again. Of course, on both sides, you can apportion blame, both to the Palestinians and the Israelis. But this attack, it's going to have consequences, won't it?
Israel is expected Palestinians to hit hard at them, resulting in the death of hundreds of people. And capturing.
As of yesterday, over 700.
It's tragic, so tragic. Israel was caught unawares, and you can imagine the response. Total out of proportion of the attack by Hamas. But at the same time,
but even in international law, there's the law of proportionality in international relations, and even when you're going to do something, there must be a certain proportion. Sure. But the way Benjamin Netanyahu has reacted, this has never happened before, and calling it an outright war. That raises concerns.
And one cause of huge concern is the targeting of civilian population.
But something that has come up. What Hamas has done, the leadership of Hamas, for example, one of the prominent personalities, he is living adjacent a mosque and in close vicinity to 3 schools. So you see what they have done. They are basically using civilians as a sort of shelter, so that if you hit them, you necessarily hit civilians. That must also be looked at.
Sure. But I expect the international community, US, which wields a lot of influence on Israel, to step in this conflict and bring it to a resolution as soon as possible.
Is that even... this has been one of the world's intractable conflicts. Now we have Ukraine and Russia, but this has been... this dates back to the 40s,
yes.
Thereabouts. And maybe we should all check out the history, how all of this happened, the claims and counterclaims, dating all the way back to the Israelites, and then the Romans ousting them, and then other settlers, and then people coming back and saying, we can play that game, but I don't know, if we don't find a resolution to this conflict, I feel someday it could spill over and affect all of us.
What has happened is a warning, a blazing beacon that something more disastrous can happen.
God help us. And sometimes some have pointed blame or accusing fingers at religion for being the center of this. I don't know, but in a way, and that is where religion sometimes, when it becomes too zealous, when it becomes too, the word I'm looking for is not coming, then fanatic.
Fanatic, okay.
On both sides, on whichever side.
Yeah.
I'm not singling out any specific group here. I'm saying that peace is a two-way thing. So I'm just hoping that some peace can be found. The Palestinians can get their nation and live in peace, and the Israelis can also have their nation and live in peace. I don't know how it will happen, but I just pray
this two-nation solution has been incubating for years now. And again, it will take, the UN is not as powerful as the US. Again, we expect the US and its allies to exert more influence on both parties.
Right.
To ensure that we see a semblance of return of peace in that region. So vital, religiously and economically. We pray that oil prices will not be affected by the resumption of hostilities between Israelis and the Palestinians.
All right. Right before we go, let me just leave all of you with these headlines. The final newspaper, 100-year-old Kolebu Hospital appeals for help. Editors, let's stop writing things like 100 years old, 10 years old. It's not English. 100-year-old. The fact that it's more than one doesn't mean you should qualify it with a plural. 100-year-old Kolebu Hospital appeals for help. The story is on page 11. And the board chairman of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. David Nkansa Dramna, has called on corporate organizations and individuals to complement the efforts of government at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital to address the challenges affecting the hospital. And the challenges are many. Recently, we spoke about dialysis cost and all of that. GJA got it all wrong. That's according to the Information Minister, Kojo Pong Kroma. And is this the truth behind this Bank of Ghana and NDC Chaskele? You can get the stories from there. Finally, Economy Times, economic activity shrinks. Bank of Ghana expects $1.6 billion by end of year. In some 20 seconds, final words, Phil Money, and then we go.
UTB certainly was one issue we should all keep an eye on, and the back and forth between the GG and the setup minister, to me, is inconsequential. This does not obscure the fact that a very serious crime has been committed, and our laws should be activated to deal surgically with what's happened at UTB.
Mr. Money, thank you so much for joining me once more to review the papers. It's always good having you come with your insight, your knowledge, your wisdom, and everything. We're grateful, sir.
It's a pleasure.
And that's how we cap off the news review this morning. This segment always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Now, guess what? If you're a man, they're offering you free prostate screening. If you're a woman, free fertility screening. Just reach out to them at any of their branches. Here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma here, behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siama and Zema. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of sports with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Up next.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. And we start with the Joy Thought Leadership Program that was held at the Labadi Beach on Monday with speeches from Neil Armstrong Motagbe, a former marketing consultant with FIFA, Daniel Macaulay, who is the group chairman of McDan Group, as well as Prof. Henson. And my colleague Guy Al-Smith, they shared ideas on how we can improve football and its economy in the country. And according to Neil Armstrong Motagbe, a former chief executive officer of Accra House of Folk, it is important every stakeholder in the country contributes to the success of football in Ghana.
About some of the ills of our game, I'll be the last person to run away from them. Because as House of Folk MD, I could get a call from a referee before a game and say, hey, Papa, what's up? I'm refereeing your match this weekend. What is the referee calling me to say this? Yes.
Wow.
And so when you have those conditions, and I talked about 2019, announced that the number 12 expose, 77 referees. And then COVID-19 strikes us. And after that, with a brand as solid, as dirty as our football, a certain young man called Kurt Edwin Simon Okraku, when I've had debates with him about stuff that I think is not working well with Ghana football. But if I want to salute him, when I say I salute the FA, is that in spite of all these problems, solution mindset, from 4 sponsors, the FA ran to 24 sponsors. This is after all the negativities. 20 sponsors added. A sponsorship income of 2.3 million Ghana cedis increased to 23.1 million Ghana cedis. 909%. In spite of all the negativities, it's that solution mindset I call all of us to. It's easy to see the problem. It's easy to complain about it. So come to our league. 10 years ago, I was MD of House of Folk, 2013. Okay, it didn't last for too long. But yeah, I mean, life happens. But in that 1 year, we still had the challenges that we had as a country. We had the challenge of competing brands. You had the EPL. You had the La Liga. We spoke about it. So the question is, how do we position ourselves such that in spite of those competitive pressures, we can still hold our own and have Ghanaians consuming the Ghanaian game? Somebody meets me in the street and says, Neil, what team do you support? I say, I support Accra Folk. No, I mean, what team do you support in Europe? And I tell the person, I'm not a European. I am a Ghanaian. Not Ghanaian, no, Ghanaian. All right, and I am a die-hard supporter of Accra Folk. I support no other club. See what I'm saying? It begins with us. Fine, we can point fingers at everybody who has a role to play in getting the game to be as exciting as we expect it to be, but we ourselves, what do we think about ourselves? We so imported the foreign cultures that we've lost our own. I worked with FIFA for 7 years as a marketing instructor. There was a time we went to Zurich for a meeting and everybody was talking about the club that they support. And people were talking, I mean, an American would say, I support Barcelona. And then a Swedish person would say he supports Real Madrid. Neil, what team do you support? Glorious Accra Folk.
Neil Amso Motagodes speaking at the Joy Thought Leadership event. Daniel Macaulay, the executive chairman of McDan Group, he revealed that he wants to buy English Premier League side Nottingham Forest. According to him, it is important that business owners invest in selling Ghana to the world.
7 years ago, I gathered all those who started course in Ghana, not the players, but the owners.
Okay.
I brought them here. We organized a course. I started a course. I revived the course league in Ghana.
Okay.
Why so? I had an AstroTurf, but I asked that we should play the coast league on the Sakura Park. There's something called culture, memory. You start from there. Why will somebody take you serious? My mother said, if you don't take yourself serious, who should take you serious? The only team I support in the world apart from Oli is Nottingham Forest. I have been an ardent supporter of Nottingham Forest when Nottingham was in even the 3rd division.
Oh, okay.
Why? Wow. Because I want to buy that team.
Wow. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
I want to buy Nottingham Forest. Imagine with all this development going on. McDan buy Nottingham Forest, and every time you see about 60% of the players in the English league from Ghana. Just, it sounds strange, but just think about it. Not for myself, but you're advertising Ghana.
Yeah.
It's a sales point. And that is where talent. So just imagine Nottingham Forest once win EPL with 60% of the team of the players from Ghana.
And meanwhile, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, for the first time this season, won the Ghana Premier League match when they came to the Accra Sports Stadium to play Accra Lions. The Porcupine Warriors needed other time to secure all maximum points in the contest against Ibrahim Tanko's boys. Kumasi Asante Kotoko winning their first game of the Ghana Premier League campaign against Accra Lions. Goal scorer Carlo Ouattara, he had praises from his manager Prosper Nathe Ogum. Meanwhile, Ibrahim Tanko, who is a coach of Accra Lions, he described the defeat as painful. Hoping to overcome the challenges that was faced by Accra Lions against Asante Kotoko at the Accra Sports Stadium on Monday. Now, let's talk about the CAF Women's Champions League draw and Ghana's champions, Ampim Dakwan ladies. They have been paired with the likes of Asfat of Morocco, Asfat Club, Ampim Dakwan ladies, and the Hurricanes of C and AS Monday. So they are in Group B of the competition. Last year or 2 years ago, they were unable to qualify to the competition, and they are making their debut after winning the Waffle Zone B. We wrap up with prime take from Wulofos and Fum, who believes that Ghana does not have the qualities to be able to win the African Cup of Nations. He says it is important the Ghana Football Association put in place the right structures and the right systems that would be able to build quality players to be able to win an African Cup of Nations title for Ghana.
So we won it in 63, 65, 78, and 82.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't even. So, what are the players that you are going to play for to win the cup?
We don't have players?
Do you think we have players? If they don't change the system of selecting players from Europe, you know, these players coming from Europe, do you think they come and kill themselves for Ghana? My brother.
But who have the quality in the local
they
league?
think about their leg. They think about their leg. When they come here, they don't play hard the way they used to play in Europe. When he comes here and play and help himself, where is he going to get money to feed his family?
From speaking to us on a Prime Take. And Prime Take airs every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is our wrap-up AM Sports here with me, Muftao Nabila Abla. You can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories. We appreciate your time.
Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to get into our big stories. But even as we segue into that, this has been the latest as far as that IGP leaked tape is concerned. We won't treat in-camera hearings with kids' gloves or kid gloves. Lawyers for IGP Akufo Dampare have set the stage for a continuation of investigations into that leaked IGP tape as they accuse the chairman of Parliament's ad hoc committee, Samuel Atachia, of embarking on a sinister agenda against their client. Let's give you some scoop as far as the accusers of the IGP who are submitting evidence. And now lawyers for Dr. Dampare are putting forward that accusation. There was an interaction. Let's take a look at what happened before we come into the studio.
The chairman is operating as if he is a sole commissioner, and we are going to use all necessary legal means at the hearing not to accept this.
What do you think is the motivation of the chairman, per your allegation?
He has his own agenda.
And what is this agenda?
He will disclose it. He has been granting interviews. Normally, what was happening was that any time after the proceedings, when we are quiet and we go home quietly, he would gather the press and grant interviews, to the extent that after one sitting, he went out there and said the extended tape which was submitted by Bugri Nabu had been doctored. A tape which has not been played for all of us to hear. He says it has been doctored. Very prejudicial comments all over. So, I mean, in the past, we thought that, because of respect for Parliament and the institution and the persons on the committee, I dropped my guns in most cases, but I'm going to do what lawyers do going forward. The chairman is talking, so I also have to talk.
So what is going to happen tomorrow? Are you saying that you would not make your client available for the continuation of the in-camera hearing?
No, my client will make himself available. Why not? He respects the institutions of state. He will make himself available. But I'm the lawyer for my client, and I will protect my client's interests to the best of my ability. This is my oath as a lawyer.
We understand the accusers of your clients have some evidence. In fact, they have witnesses in which they've written to the committee to grant them protection for them to come and testify. Are you aware of that?
Yes, we have heard. But witnesses to come and testify about what? To come and say that the voices on the tape were not authentic, to come and say that there was no conspiracy to remove the IGP. Witnesses to come and say what? It is the tape. And we would resist any attempt by the chairman or the committee to bring any extraneous persons to come and testify. We would resist. The committee is a number of people on that committee, and it looks like it is the chairman's committee. We'll see how the other members also would react tomorrow, whatever submissions we are going to make tomorrow. But we are not going to go ahead with kids' gloves in the subsequent proceedings. We would not.
Are you ready for a showdown?
I won't say showdown. This one will be a show up.
You are going for a show up?
Showdown has been abused and battered. I would rather use show up.
Between you and the committee chairman? I
am expecting anything tomorrow. Trust me, I am expecting anything.
Meaning you are not going to miss words at all?
No. Tomorrow, and given the dynamics, tomorrow we are going out there properly prepared as lawyers, and we will do what lawyers do.
Well, tough talk from Kwame Jan, lawyer Kwame Jan. It appears we have quite a number of my former lecturers who are going to be interacting with me. Kwame Jan taught me at some point. But he talks about the fact that his team, joining me in the studio, by the way, we have Samuel Mbura. He put all of this together. He is on our political desk. Samuel Mbura, he talks about extraneous evidence, that they are not going to allow any such, sneaking in of evidence. He says it's not going to be a showdown. They are going to show up. And that they are going to do what lawyers are expected to do, what lawyers do. In other words, they're not going to mince words, they're going to go hard.
Exactly.
As far as this in-camera session is concerned.
Exactly.
But you've covered the previous sessions.
Yeah.
What can we expect as far as these in-camera sessions? How long will they last before we even get to the substance of the meeting?
We know that the first one was a public hearing. We had so many witnesses appearing, and the last in-camera session we covered had to do with the National Security Minister, Mr. Albert Kandapa, who appeared before the committee. The reason he appeared had to do with the fact that when the whole issue came to the media domain, they had already started investigations into it. So some of the witnesses appeared before the National Investigation Bureau. That's why they invited him to also come and testify. So the National Security Minister appeared before the committee.
Right.
He gave his evidence, but he didn't tender in their findings because he said the document was classified. If it were to be a declassified one, I could have shared with them. So he just shared with them the details that they've gathered about the investigations. However, he didn't tender that in as a document in evidence for the committee to proceed with it. So the public hearing is done. Now what we are going into is a full-blown in-camera hearing. It starts today, ends on Saturday. So the committee...
That's like how many days? 5 days?
5 days.
Right.
So from today 10 till Saturday, around 2 p.m. or 3 p.m., they're expected to conclude their work and then subsequently submit their report. So if nothing comes across, the committee is expected to end this work this coming Saturday.
It looks as though it were going to be explosive. You know why? Because the last time, I think it was COP...
Alex
Mensah.
Retired.
You had an interaction with, you remember, the one where he was walking out of Parliament and he made some promises. Yeah. And then now we hear from lawyer Kwame Jan. I foresee that is going to be explosive from, I don't know what you're feeling.
The reason he referenced the extraneous witness is that he said that the documents, there was actually an invitation that was extended to them for the in-camera hearing. And that invitation stated that he's supposed to appear with his client, that's the IGP, which he has confirmed that the IGP will be coming for that hearing. And then they will testify or listen to what the accusers have against him. Then he would answer to that. Mr. Kwame Jan revealed that attached to the invitation given them was a document, court document, that the committee has added, bringing in external, what he referenced as extraneous witnesses, people whose names were not mentioned in the leaked tape, but they are bringing them in. They think that these are foreign materials. They think that the committee is done with its work after establishing the faces behind the audio recording and the people accepting that they were those captured in it. So they are of the view that the committee is even extending its boundaries. That's why he says that the chairman, he's accusing the chairman of just embarking on an agenda against their client. The reason he's more than less widening the scope of the investigation.
And we can talk about, the status of the committee or even court processes or the processes that a committee like this would follow. They are bound by what evidence is adduced at a point in time with such evidence or whoever is going to be called as a witness, with the other side privy to all of that information before, just like you would find in a court process. So any such extraneous, events. And I remember at a point when this was raised, Samuel Atachia mentioned that they would never surprise the other side with anything that they are not aware of. So now it's quite a tricky, it's hanging in a balance, this entire situation. The new witnesses, so-called, and the other documents to be adduced. But is it justified, the outburst of lawyer Kwame Jan? Because is there confirmation? What I mean is there confirmation that there are going to be such pieces of evidence or documents or witnesses
I have a document that was written by the lawyers for one of the accusers of the IGP, Superintendent George Asari. And then in that letter, which actually found its way to the media, his lawyers were not happy that these witnesses have been exposed.
Right.
Because we've written the letter to the committee. How did the letter get to the public?
I remember that saga.
Yeah, if you are sharing it with other witnesses involved, their legal team, fine. But how did it get its way to the media? Because it exposes their clients to risks and then threats. That's what they claimed. And in that letter that they wrote to the committee to invite witnesses to testify, they indicated, I wouldn't mention the names, 2 civilians. One is coming to testify the award of a contract to, the alleged award of a contract to Bugri Nabu and the payments of kickbacks by Dr. Akufo Dampare, allegedly. The role played by Bugri Nabu during the period leading to the appointment of Dr. Akufo Dampare as the IGP, unauthorized monthly payment, allegedly, by Dr. Akufo Dampare to Bugri Nabu. This is what the civilians are coming to testify. There's one senior officer, name withheld, he's based in Accra here, and then he is testifying on the conversion of the Police Intelligence Directorate into a personal unit of Dr. Akufo Dampare. These were part of the allegations that were captured in the leaked IGP tape. So these 3 witnesses are those that the lawyers are presenting or tendering in as evidence to come and testify on their case. And that these are the extraneous, witnesses that lawyer Kwame Jan referred to, that their names were not mentioned. So what business do they have? Is it the case they are coming to authenticate the tape, or what at all are they coming to say concerning the probe? So that is why he's raising concerns about it.
Interesting times that have, arisen, and today you'll definitely be in the precincts of Parliament trying to sift out what information you can. And maybe following from there, we'll see what happens.
Surely.
Samuel Mbura joining me, my colleague in the studio. He is on our political desk, and he will be on the beat today, bringing us more information on that saga. But stay with us, because up next we have a discussion bordering on interestingly, borders. Ghana has presented the ratified instruments of the African Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation to the African Union Commission at a ceremony at the AU Commission headquarters in Addis Ababa. We'll bring you details of that as we engage Major General Emmanuel Kotia. Do stay for that conversation up next. Welcome back on the AM show, and as promised, we deliver. Now, Ghana has presented the ratified instruments of the African Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation to the African Union Commission at a ceremony at the African Union Commission headquarters in Addis Ababa. And guess what? Ghana signed the agreement to the convention on the 4th of July, 2017. The agreement was further ratified by the Parliament of Ghana on the 9th of February 2023. Now, the African Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation, known as the Niamey Convention, is a framework for collaboration across borders which ensures integration in Africa and enhances prospects for peaceful resolution of boundary disputes between member states. Well, the aim of the convention is to promote cross-border cooperation and ensure peaceful resolution of border disputes. And guess what? Maxwell Agbagba, my colleague, has more on that before we delve into the nitty-gritty with our guest.
The Niamey Convention is a framework for collaboration across borders which ensures integration in Africa. The aim of the convention is to promote cross-border cooperation and to ensure peaceful resolution of border disputes. 18 out of 55 member states have signed the convention, with 8 of the countries, including Ghana, ratifying the convention. The African Union has over the years promoted cross-border cooperation as part of efforts aimed at achieving an integrated continent where borders would serve as bridges for peace, growth and development. The instrument was received by the legal counselor of the African Union Commission in the presence of officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ghana Embassy in Ethiopia. Ghana has thus become the 8th country to ratify the convention. Speaking after presenting the instruments, the Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Bankole Adeoye, congratulated the government and people of Ghana for ratifying the African Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation. He further praised the Ghana Boundary Commission for the strides made within the few years of its existence. He expressed appreciation and excitement of the work of the Ghana Boundary Commission as one of the vibrant commissions in Africa whose work has been geared towards the prevention of boundary conflict along the international land and maritime boundaries of Ghana and its neighbors. The Commissioner revealed that the AU Commission had monitored the progressive work of the Ghana Boundary Commission with the neighboring boundary commissions of Côte d'Ivoire, Togo and Burkina Faso, and was impressed with the commitment and enthusiasm of the Commission.
I'm passionate about the Ghana Boundary Commission and its activities, the history, the parliamentary act that set it in motion, the inauguration of the board by His Excellency President Nana-Addo, and how we have been working since then with Togo, with Côte d'Ivoire, with Nigeria, and your request to definitely serve as chief advocate for the Niamey Convention. We fully buy into that. And one of the things that I'm going to ask my team to do is that I know that in the last 2 years, one time under Cameroon, we discussed the question of border. It was even at the ministerial level, we call it. It was at ministerial level. But the emphasis should now zero in on the Niamey Convention. We need to get the 8 countries. Because I know also very well that the Nigerian Boundary Commission works in both international and internal. Because communities fight over land and food for erosion, because of climate change impact, there's always that clash. So the government made sure that they had the two focus areas, both internal and external. For us, as a boundary commission, we started and we're doing very well. We think that our just give you an example. The African Union Border Program, in collaboration with GIZ, is bringing all the SADC countries to Ghana somewhere in the 10th quarter for us to coach them on how to establish boundary commissions. In addition, Ethiopia will be joining, Guinea and Sierra Leone will be joining. So it's going to be a big thing, and we'll show them what to do, especially the legal aspects, the legal frameworks, what to do internally to be able to get this. We're a very vibrant commission. We want to lead an advocacy in Africa, not only for countries to ratify the convention, but for us to ensure that the convention itself, the letter and spirit of the convention is applied to all countries, so that the countries within the African Union will live peacefully.
National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Yumanokotia, also met the team from GIZ.
We still continue to depend on the regional office here, so far as various support is concerned, and I know that we are having a lot of programs that we're kind of action we are going to unfold from now until next year. We are also very happy that GIZ is giving us the opportunity to mentor some countries from SADC, to mentor them in Accra on how to establish boundary commissions, which we've mentioned to the EU and they're very excited about it. And we want to use that opportunity as well to be advocates of or ambassadors of countries ratifying the African Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation.
The Ghana Boundary Commission led the process of facilitating the ratification of the Niamey Convention in close collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, the Ministry of Justice, the Office of the Attorney General, and other relevant agencies. The ratification by Ghana was achieved through careful stakeholder meetings organized under the auspices of the Ghana Boundary Commission to ensure broad consultations and inputs prior to the ratification of the convention by the Ghana. National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Yumanokotia, said based on joint activities between neighboring countries, the convention will facilitate the development of boundaries and ease free movement of persons and goods along common borders. The objectives of the Niamey Convention include, but not limited to, the promotion of cross-border cooperation at local, sub-regional and regional level, the facilitation of the peaceful resolution of boundary disputes, the promotion of peace and stability through conflict prevention and continental integration, the transformation of border areas into catalysts for growth, socio-economic and political integration of the continent. Ghana stands to benefit immensely from the Niamey Convention in various aspects. First, the convention provides a legal framework for the development and implementation of cross-border initiatives. These initiatives will provide mutually beneficial projects, infrastructure, and facilities for border communities across Ghana and its neighbors. The convention also formalizes cooperation between Ghana and other stakeholders, as well as institutionalized cross-border cooperation through a continent-accepted framework. The economic benefits are also many.
And that was my colleague Maxwell Agbagba bringing us the scoop on that. We're joined now by Major General Emmanuel Kotia, and he, of course, is Coordinator, Ghana Boundary Commission. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, and good morning to your numerous viewers.
It's a pleasure having you. So for the first time, I get to interview you, Major General Kotia. I always say it proudly, my lecturer for my master's program. It's good to have you, respectfully, sir, join the conversation today. So let's kickstart from the essence of this convention, basically, the Niamey Convention. What does it aim to achieve? Let's start the conversation from there.
Clearly, as your reporter mentioned, it is meant to promote cross-border cooperation and to ensure peaceful resolution of border or boundary disputes. Now, if we talk about boundary disputes, we're referring to both land and maritime boundaries. Eventually, when we get our new bill into effect, air boundaries are also going to be featured as part of our responsibilities. So the aim of the convention is in sync with the responsibilities that are spelled out in the law that established the Ghana Boundary Commission in Ghana. Now, this will be based, in achieving this aim, it will be based on joint activities between neighboring countries, and it is to facilitate the development of borderlands, cross-boundary activities, to ease free movements of persons and goods across the various boundaries. Basically, that is it. But let's also put on record that the AU Convention, the decision to adopt the AU Convention was at the 23rd ordinary session of the African Union Assembled held in Malabo in Equatorial Guinea. And therefore, the convention, in setting it up, is in line with the agreement to establish an African Union agenda of 2063 under the aspiration of a continent of seamless border and management of cross-border resources through dialogue. So basically, dialogue is an underlining catalyst so far as this convention is concerned.
And as far as Ghana is concerned, you situated the conversation neatly, but as far as Ghana is concerned, between 2017 and now, we've gone through many processes. Now that we've presented the ratified documents, what does that mean for us? What does it mean for the sanctity of Ghana's borders?
It means that we are at liberty to negotiate and have discussions with our neighboring states so far as border issues are concerned. The second aspect is that we are easily open for funding from development partners and other friendly countries so far as development of our boundaries are concerned. I'll give you an example. Currently, we are working with Togo in delimitation our boundaries, not demarcation. The boundaries have already been demarcated, but we are doing a delimitation exercise. And this delimitation exercise is to confirm the pillars, and we do it jointly with the neighboring countries. And the work we are doing currently is sponsored by GIZ, funded by GIZ, and we are going to replace the old pillars that have been removed or those that are shaky on the ground with new boundary pillars, and that is also going to be funded by some development partners. So it gives us that leeway and the support that is given by the African Union Convention. The other aspect is that on cross-border issues, we can receive support from the ECOWAS, the AU, so far as intervening in the private community, border communities concerned.
Now, is this linked in any way to the insurgency situation in the sub-region, and how, if any, will it deal with same?
It doesn't address the insurgency in the sub-region, but then we work in collaboration with other agencies that are providing security in that respect. For instance, if you have an immigration officer at the border, and we have seen it a couple of times, sometimes because the demarcations are not very clear, they do not know where the boundary is. So it is our responsibility as a commission to identify where the boundary is. And I've mentioned it before, even I've mentioned in your class before, that one of the key characteristics of a state is to have a defined territory. Now, having a defined territory means that you must have well-demarcated boundaries. Without boundaries, it means that you don't have a territory. That is how important the convention is and how important the Ghana Boundary Commission is.
I do not know. I mean, in the sub-region, we've had a number of countries that unfortunately have gone the way of coup d'etats, from Mali to Burkina Faso to Guinea, and now Niger, among others, and in Central Africa as well. But while I do not know whether they have ratified these documents or have subscribed to it, what is the move to rope them in? Is there any such move, or are they totally outside of this circle?
Incidentally, and let me make a correction. Now we have 9 countries that have ratified. Nigeria was the last country to ratify to present their ratified instruments last week to the African Union. Now, incidentally, all the countries that border us have all ratified the convention ahead of us, quite over 2 years ago. Cote d'Ivoire has ratified, Burkina Faso has ratified, Togo has ratified, and Mali has ratified. It doesn't have a relationship with insecurity as such, but then having such boundaries well demarcated prevents interstate conflicts. But intrastate conflicts is completely a different ballgame. So that is the issue I want to highlight.
I'm still not a bit clear on the last aspect. So does it not totally affect the situation? Once, I mean, these military takeovers have happened, you're basically saying it does not affect the overall situation, if I get you correctly.
No, it doesn't affect the cooperation and the relationship that the Ghana Boundary Commission will have with the Ghana Boundary Commission with Burkina. Let me inform you that we had a joint meeting with Burkina in May this year. That was in the midst of the military government. Now, what I'm saying is that it is an independent body and it doesn't have any effect so far as the workings of the boundary commissions are concerned.
Right. Before I get into other matters on the Boundary Commission, so with Ghana presenting the ratified documents to the relevant AU Commission, what next? What do we do? Where do we go from here?
It means that we need to implement some of the functions or most of the functions that are in our convention. We need to incorporate the functions into our laws, the Ghana Boundary Commission law, and then we also need to educate people along the boundaries and within and then other actors within the country on the need for understanding on what the convention is about.
And before I let go of you, there are some crucial angles I also want us to look at, which feed directly into your work. We all know of the famous ITLOS ruling as far as Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire are concerned, that maritime boundary dispute. What more can you share on the status of that and what proceedings are between both countries?
Yeah, that's a ruling that was made between in the dispute between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. The ruling brought the finality of the conflict. Now, the documents of the ruling on Ghana's side has been deposited of the UN Department of Law of the Sea. Now, the issue between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire is then the implementation of the ITLOS ruling. And let me inform you that Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire have been meeting, the Ghana Boundary Commission and the National Boundary Commission have been meeting, and I am happy to announce that next month in November, we are visiting some of the sites that are closer to the terminating boundary of our maritime boundary on land to inspect and do some reaffirmation exercise within that period. So it has been going on well. Cote d'Ivoire has been cooperative so far as that is concerned. The only omission is that Cote d'Ivoire wants us to go together and go and deposit the ruling, which we are in the process of doing. But so far, everything is going well. We've also, an additional point I need to mention is that since the ruling, we've not had an inspection of our boundary line, whether people have interfered or come into our boundary line. We successfully undertook this inspection this year. Sometime in April, we were able to undertake this inspection using naval, in collaboration with the Ghana Navy. We are expected to go on another inspection in November with the Ghana Navy.
Interesting dynamics. I know with Togo, we've had some issues in terms of the boundary, and we have had to do some reworking of those boundaries, of course, in collaboration with both countries. So it would be interesting to find out what the dynamics are as far as our neighbor, Cote d'Ivoire, is concerned. But let's focus a bit more on the Boundary Commission. You've been at the helm of affairs for a brief spell now. What are the achievements so far of the Boundary Commission? What has the Commission been up to under your watch?
Thank you very much for this question. Let me mention that the machinery of a commission was not in place until I was appointed. Once I was appointed, I put the machinery in place, and we now have an office, and we have personnel who are working in various departments in the commission. Now, we quickly went, and we had contacted all our neighboring countries, and we are all in the same platform so far as discussions on issues are concerned. So once there's an issue that comes up, and we have a number of them, between our boundaries, neighboring countries, we call each other and we're able to resolve this, sometimes on phone or move to the ground to resolve it. And I can mention that there was a problem in Pulmanco where there was a dispute between the locals concerning our international boundary. We invited the Cote d'Ivoire Land Boundary, the Togo Land Boundary Commission. We went to the ground, we resolved it, and announced to the whole world the resolution of it because the legacy documents were in place and there was no need for any argument. The Togolese locals were wrong in shifting the borders. Now, another thing that I need to mention is that we have carried on a number of reaffirmation exercises with Togo on land boundary. And we have covered, so far, we've covered about 250 kilometers. This exercise continues from the 19th of this month, October, in Togo, and we're going to cover from Hunuta, the Middle Belt area, up to some parts of the northern part of Togo, together with Togo. So it is ongoing. At the same time, we are going to start the construction of boundary pillars from Aflao up, and contractors have been earmarked by GIS who are paying for it to start the construction. So we're going to do a continuous work on the Togo side, and that has been a great achievement so far as the boundary commission is concerned. One other achievement is the facilitating the ratification of the African Union Convention on Cross-Border Convention. Remember, Ghana signed the convention in 2017. We had to wait up to this year to ratify it, and so that is one achievement that is that we need to take on our back. However, there have been other issues. For instance, we have identified some deprived communities along our boundaries, and we've been able to get funding to be able to do some rehabilitation of a health facility in Lake Lebikame in the Volta region. We've also been able to secure funding from the Ministry of Roads in Ghana to open up the road to Donald Up. And currently, the 48th Engineer Regiment is working on that road. They've been able to do the first clearance. We are hoping that when the rain stops, they will start putting on gravels. And again, we've done the same thing, opening the road around Sapalga area towards the Burkina border. We've also successfully and continue to negotiate with Togo on our maritime boundary challenge. And currently, that issue has gone up to the head of states level. And we're hoping that we'll be hearing something good at the end of the day so far as the dispute. That would have been one of the historical moments between these two countries, since two countries would have come together to settle a dispute without going to the courts. So basically, these are some of the achievements among many others that I can mention now.
Interesting dynamics, and kudos to you for the good work. In fact, it is reflected in this message. Akwesi Pambo says, kudos to you, Major General Dr. Kotia. So you're getting some applause or plaudits on social media. But right before you go, two quick things. One of them has to do with the importance of the construction of the road in the border community area of Dollar Power. How far advanced is that, and what's the importance? How important is it?
One, I'll start with the importance of Dollar Power. Dollar Power is a place that we do not have state's presence there, and it's also at the border of our border of Cote d'Ivoire. The issue is that we have a lot of illegal mining activities going on, and this is affecting our boundary pillars. That was one of the reasons why we went there in 2021. Now, we realized that most of the boundary pillars were being removed because people wanted to take advantage to go ahead of illegal activities, including mining. Now, when we got there, we were able to speak to the community, and we were able to stop those activities from going. I mean, not the illegal mining, but at least the removal of our international boundary. Now, Basically, what we realized that there was no security present because there was no access route to them. We only go to dollar. We can get to dollar power by helicopter, and movement within dollar power. We have to use motorbikes, and the personnel who are staying in border power also use motorbikes. But we have not less than 10,000 people in dollar power. So we wrote a policy paper that there was a need for the opening. So fortunately, the Minister of National Security, Minister of Lands, and the Roads Minister, they came together and agreed that we can facilitate the construction of that road. So an amount of 78 million was promised. Part of it has been released. That's what the clearance are done. The more money is released, the faster the road construction will go. So currently, the 48th Engineer Regiment is on the ground undertaking the construction. Why 48th Engineer Regiment is because the area is infested with a lot of elements, and it is better you use the soldiers so that they can protect themselves. There are a lot of issues there that provides the agency for us to intervene and to construct the road as fast as possible. We will be visiting dollar power at the end of the month, and we will ask your reporters to join us for us to look at the progress of the construction and what is being done at dollar power.
We salute you for the work you've done. Before you go, though, I know you are well-traveled as far as the military, beyond the military, but especially in terms of missions here and there. I'm wondering whether you have any take on the Liberian election so far. I mean, I was stuck there in 1989, and they're back at the polls. Interesting dynamics because 2 people have died. Do you have any memories of ever being there? I do not know, and what your thinking may be as they hold their elections?
Yes, the simple message to Liberians that they should conduct these elections peacefully, because I was one of the troops who was launched in Liberia First War in 1990, and I know Liberia very well. We fought in Liberia to secure the peace in Liberia. So it will be very sad for somebody like me who has participated in that conflict in resolving that conflict, to hear that Liberia has really lapsed back to a conflict. Now, we pray that the elections go on peacefully. The Electoral Commission should go on its work peacefully. The security agency should be able to avert anything that will distract and destroy the sanctity of peace that has been secured, stability that has been secured in Liberia.
We're grateful for your time with us this morning, and we wish you the very best in all your endeavors as you lead the Boundary Commission to greater heights. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you.
And that is Major General Dr. Emmanuel Kotia. He is National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission. He joined us for a conversation. Now stay with us, because up next, we still have that conversation on Liberia, where 2 people, unfortunately, have lost their lives. We also have a conversation on the EMY, or the Emmy Awards, and then again, the National Science and Math Quiz. We'll definitely find our levels in there. All of that still to come on the AM show. Do stay. We'll be right back. Well, the Liberian election kick-started yesterday. Unfortunately, there are 2 casualties. We'll be connecting live from there, but 19 candidates are in a race to unseat the Coalition for Democratic Change, led by former footballer George Weah, after serving his first term in office as president of that country. Key among them is former Vice President Joseph Boakai, who is leading the biggest opposition party, the Unity Party, for the election. Now, issues of the economy and security remain priority to the electorate. Nanayo Jima of our Foreign Affairs Desk has been to the streets of Monrovia and filed this report.
The busy Randall Street in Monrovia is waking up to its usual congestion and chaos. Like many parts of Africa, these traders have taken to the pavements, displaying their wares for sale. Within the group are a small number of traders clad in colors of the Unity Party. Through music and dance, they show their allegiance to the opposition leader, Joseph Boakai. For them, the ruling party is struggling with corruption and the economy, hence the need to give way to the opposition.
By the present government, we have seen things are not working the way he promised the Liberian people to change their lives, but we are seeing things have become very difficult for people. The common Liberian people that were happy before with this government, they themselves have felt the suffering that the government have brought. They are only there for themselves. They are not there for the people. So the rescue team that is led by Boakai, we believe that he got the ingenuity to change the country around. This is the reason why we choose to follow him.
Actually, I'm a former citizen, but I'm going to support Joe Boakai because he's someone who has integrity. We're going to vote on Joe Boakai because he's someone who has vision. We can rescue this country. That one of the main reasons I'm going to vote Joe Boakai as the next president of the Republic of Liberia.
The issue I have to do with President Weah, President Weah one said that he is not a politician. The Liberian people force his surrounding forces to become president. So for I can't believe President Weah because the man is not a politician. They don't know the job. So that's the reason why we decided to vote him out. President Weah messed the country out. There's no job, there's no company, nothing going on. We are doing business, no buying. We're complaining, no buying.
On the same Randall streets, many hold contrary opinion on the choice of candidates. According to these people, challenges in the economy is a global phenomenon. They believe there is need for a second term for the CDC.
Wow, for me, from the situation surrounding the current government, for me, I see there's a reason for him succeeding the second term. Because we see a lot of development, a lot of opportunity, a lot of environment. For the past government, we have been doing normal business here. People have been running, have been chasing us. But since we get into the government, we have been peaceful and free to do our normal business. So for which I've been seeing, it will better get the second term.
I'm voting for the best candidate ever.
Which one is that?
Country Giant. The pride of Africa, the black diamond from Liberia. That he said, I'm going to vote for on Tuesday. Bakugbe, president-elect, again, for the second term, George Manuel Weah.
Where are they coming to change? Why did they not change? They want to change. What the law that they're looking for to find? So now we prefer the current president to be re-voted to be the next president of the people abroad because he's doing well. There are a lot of things that they're not set in the country that he try to set it. People try to blame 175-year-old probably on someone who just a president for 5 years. It will never be that. Change is a process. It's a gradual thing. So we are on the red trajectory of change. So we cannot change what we are.
It is the fourth election of the country after restoration of democracy in Liberia. In deepening democracy, the Economic Community of West African States has offered the necessary logistical and human resource for the election. The streets of Monrovia are excited about the upcoming election. One thing or one message that is being sent across by every person I've spoken to so far is that there is need for peace in this country. The country would not want to go back to the days of civil war. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
And that was that package put together by Nanaya Ojima. He's standing by for us at a polling station in Monrovia currently. Just to give you a bit of the scoop. So on the back of the fracas yesterday and 2 people losing their lives, it's all about Joseph Boakai and his party. Remember, under Samuel Doe, he was actually Agric Minister. Then he became Veep for an extensive period under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And currently, he wants to be president. He tried the last time, the election went into a runoff, and George Weah actually came up tops. But what will happen this time? Nanaya Ojima is standing by for us. A very good morning to you, Nanaya. Okay, so we'll try to work the connection to Nanaya Ojima, get him online so he can share his thoughts with us. He finds himself currently at a polling station, I suspect somewhere in Monrovia, the capital. He's part of that team going around, ECOWAS team, sanctioned, of course, media person. bringing us the scoop on the latest developments there. But we also know that on the back of some of the reactions we have had, on the back of some of the rhetoric on the streets, this election could go into a runoff, like the last few elections in Liberia have actually witnessed. And if it does, that would likely be a straight fight between Joseph Boakai's party and the party of George Weah. The dynamics, it's maybe too close to call as of now, but we'll get the latest on what exactly has been happening, what culminated in the deaths of these two people, and what we can expect in the coming days. Nanayao, can you hear me now? So we'll try to work the connection, get to Nanayao Jima. It's quite an attempt as far as the technology is concerned today. We're trying to patch his feed live so we can catch videos or at least the sound, the ambience of that situation there. But Liberia going to the polls for yet another time. After Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, there has been a lot of criticism on the back of the style of George Weah. Some of the antics of his son have not, exactly aided his cause. But he has gone past all of that. He's contesting a second term. And the question is whether he will be able to retain his seat as president. Nanayao Jima now connects with me from Liberia. Nanayao, where exactly are you? Are you still in the capital? And what can you tell us about the latest happenings?
Person, a voting person here in Monrovia. So far, the queue keeps getting long. A number of people have come out from their homes.
Keeps getting long. A number of people have come out from their homes to join the queues and get the opportunity to vote. So the numbers here keep increasing. Almost all the polling places that I've been to this morning has huge numbers in these polling stations.
Right, so today is D-Day, and like you're saying, people are pouring out onto the streets. But yesterday we got the feeling that, today's election could lead to a runoff. Hello? Is that still the rhetoric? Hello, Nanayao, can you hear me? All right. So at least some footage, some images from Liberia as confirmed by Nanayao Jima. People are pouring out there to the polling stations. People are running to the polling stations, so to speak, all in a bid to express their feelings, their sentiments. It's more of a verdict on the leadership of George Weah. But where the pie will crumble is what we all await. We're just hoping, like Major General Kutia expressed to me in that earlier conversation, that peace will prevail, that we'll not see any fighting, and that in the end, the results will be free and fair. The electoral process will be free and fair. Of course, the ECOWAS team is on hand, currently monitoring matters, part of which my colleague Nanayao Jima is a member of. And if you know of the rhetoric, if you know of the history, I should say, as far as Liberia is concerned, I personally was caught in that, together with my family, that first civil war in 1989, leading all the way to 1997. And after that, what followed, leading to some peace of some sort in Liberia. Then there was the rule of Charles Taylor. If you look at all of those in the mix, from Samuel Doe to the Prince Johnsons, the Charles Taylors, and where Liberia is now, it has come pretty far. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf leading that country, the Harvard graduate, leading that country for quite a number of years. And the tail of the tape was that Joseph Boakai, who had served under Samuel Doe, who had been VP for quite a long time, would take over. George Opongwea, who had been a two-term senator, took over from there, and he's never looked back. The question we're asking is whether today the people of Liberia will retain George Weah or will cede to that coalition formed by Joseph Buakai. We'll try one more time to see whether we can reach Nanaya Ojima, barring which we shall proceed from here, and much later, if we can hear from him, then maybe we'll pick his report on those matters. Nanaya, can you hear me now? Is it possible to have a conversation? All right. So we do not have Nanaya, but the latest that there are 20 candidates vying for that slot of president in Liberia. Time will tell. By the close of today, leading into tomorrow, we'll be able to tell where the cookie will fall and who likely will be the next leader of that country. Of course, whatever happens there also impacts our country. Do stay with us. Up next, a lot more. We still have conversations with the Emmy Awards and then Goyle as far as the National Science and Math Quiz are concerned. We'll be right back.
Hello there. Thank you so much for staying here on the AM show. I'm Bernice Abubedu-Lansa, and much earlier you saw my colleague Benjamin Akapu talking about the Liberia elections being held today. Apologies, we had a bit of a technical hitch, but thankfully we've been able to restore our connection to our man on the ground, Nanaya Ojima, and he has been engaged in the head of the ECOWAS Observation Mission in Liberia, Professor Atahiru Jega.
So far, so good. There is an impressive turnout, and the first polling unit we went to, we observed the commencement, and it appears that all is well. We hope that from what we are seeing in terms of the discipline of voters on the queue, and also the diligence of the polling station officials, it promises to be a good, transparent process, and we will throughout the day go around other polling units, and we hope that what we see will be consistent in all the other polling units, because what we have seen is impressive, and certainly will augur well if it is sustained.
So we know that ECOWAS has over 120 observers across the country. Obviously, you should be picking some reports from some of these people. What are they saying?
So far, the reports we have received indicate that things are going on smoothly. And obviously, that's what we all hope in an election environment, to have a good commencement, a peaceful commencement, an orderly process, and to have it sustained throughout the day. So we look forward to going around other polling stations throughout Monrovia, and we will keep receiving reports from our observers deployed all over the country, and so far so good, and we hope that this is a good, very good omen.
So before today, we had a conversation and we spoke about some of the arrangements done by NEC, security and everything. All the arrangements, are things falling in place?
From what we have seen so far, they all seem to be falling in place, and it's quite impressive. In particular, we need to commend the Liberian people for coming out evidently in large numbers to participate in these elections. And as I said earlier on, the orderliness on the queues, long queues, is quite impressive. We urge all others who have not yet come out to ensure, if they are qualified, that they use today's opportunity to come out and vote, and to do so very peacefully.
All right, thank you. So that was Professor Atahiru Jega, and he is head of the and he is head of the ECOWAS Observer Mission here in Liberia. And this is the second voting precinct he has visited, and he has visited the polling stations and observing things. According to him, things are going on very well. He is happy with what he has seen so far. So far, according to him, reports that he's been receiving from his men on the ground is that things are calm within these counties, and polling materials or election materials have reached lots of these polling stations. Let me talk to some of the people who have been here this morning in the queues. You see a lot of people. This is just outside the just the outside of the polling station. There's people forming queues. The queues go way just within these polling stations. You have these people in there queuing, and more of them queue here. This is not the only polling station with these numbers. Still early in the morning, few minutes after 8 a.m. and these are the numbers we are seeing. Young man, thank you very much. Why you are here early this morning? Why is that so?
I'm here to vote because I came early this morning to cash out my vote. Yeah, but then since then, you know, the line is too much, so I just decided to wait a little bit until it can reduce.
So when exactly did you come in here? When? At what time did you come in?
Actually wake up at 6 a.m. this morning, and then because the line was still long, so I went home, and then the go leave my phone back. Then I come back again by around let's say 8 o'clock. So I'm still here until now. I'm still waiting.
All right, thank you very much. So 8 a.m. Did you also come here 6 a.m.?
Yes.
And you're still waiting? I'm
still waiting.
You don't know when exactly you vote. Can you wait for that long?
I will wait for the time.
Okay. Anyway, you came here this early? Why this early?
To vote.
And you stay in the queue to get your turn?
Yeah.
All right. So these are some of the people who are in the queue here in Monrovia, and we'll continue to observe things within Monrovia and keep you updated on whatever happens here in Liberia, Monrovia to be precise.
So you want to stay with us here on the Joy News channel. You know that we are your election headquarters and we do it best. So Nanaya Aljima is in Monrovia for us, and he'll be bringing us all the latest updates with regards to the elections there. But let's talk about the NSMQ. And this morning I've been joined by Mr. Robert Tre. He's PR manager for Goyle PLC. And you know that they have been doing this with prime time for a very long time. And you're welcome, Mr. Tre. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Right. So, 30 years doing this. It's a big deal. Running this competition for 30 full years.
Absolutely.
But you've been doing this with the NSMQ for 6 solid years.
Precisely.
Why have you stayed on?
Because there's much to gain from NSMQ, not only at the corporate front, but for the students. It's very good for them to be able to come up, fuel their curiosity, as it were, because science, technology, and maths is the future for every country. And these young ones who are in school, if we want, as a country, to be able to nurture them, to be able to discover their innate abilities, for them to be able to pioneer in future some of the development, some of the inventions that we want for our country, then it's important that we invest in them. And National Science and Maths Quiz presents a very good opportunity for these students to come up in the least, for them to be able to gain their confidence, free their mind to be able to innovate, and to fuel their curiosity that in future we'll have people who will be the laboratory technicians, people who will be the experts, maths, and statisticians. These are the people we need in society. So for us at Goyle, in the list, we have over 200 scientists of different fields, chemical, mechanical, electrical, they're all there. So, and as an indigenous proud marketing entity, oil marketing entity, if there's nothing that we want to support, it is investing in our youth, investing in knowledge, investing in the future to see that Ghana will have these potential scientists for them to be able to develop.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Now, in the 6 years that you've been doing this with the NSMQ, you have not only shown commitment, but you have shown deeper commitment. And I say this because you moved from supporting sponsor to a partnering sponsor. Tell us what accounted for that shift.
Precisely. We have this year decided to do a 3-year headline sponsorship. And it is not per chance as you described, because over the years we have realized that the country and the youth, as it were, needs much more support to be able to come up. And we want not only to sustain the program, but we also are mindful of the fact that at GOIL, our sustainability program is also much more dwelling on education, that is inclusive and quality education in consonance with SDG Goal 4, which talks about giving the youth life learning opportunities. And in this vein, in connection with this, you will see the lesser known schools coming up. And we believe that if Prime Time has been able to do this for 30 years, and we have been supported for 6 years, we need to go a notch further if we want to bring every one of them, many of the less known schools, to come up and participate in this, because the future of this country belongs to this youth and belongs to STEM education. That is the future of the country. And so at GOIL, what we have done is that we want sustainability, and it's part of our CSR mandate. Quality education is one of the things we pursue, besides improvement in health and sanitation and water provision. So it is all anchored into our sustainability program that we do. And we need to help these students, nurture them, identify them, help them by providing the support that they need so that they can become something. If you go to many of Noguchi's and all that, we have a whole couple of them there. It gladdens our heart that as an indigenous entity like GOIL, we want to contribute to this, not in any other sponsorship, but in our indigenous quality human resource. That's what we are for.
Interesting. So if you're a follower of the NSMQ, you should know about the GOIL Super Bonanza by now. There are a couple of prizes that you have introduced as part of your elevation, or as part of the elevation of your sponsorship from supporting sponsor to partnering sponsor. Tell us about that.
Yes. So precisely, we also have the Good Energy Double. There's a special award to the grand winner who turns out at the regional and zonal championship. So the GOIL Regional Bonanza we have mentioned already, and that we also have the Super Bonanza that starts from the quarter, semi-final, and the grand finale, and the Good Energy Double champion. And we have excellent awards not only for the students but for teachers as well.
Fantastic.
We also want to laud them for the very good work they have been able to do to come up and to nurture the students to this far. So there's a whole list of benefits that they receive from the preliminary stage, that they will get the excellence awards, first, second, third. We are providing money to be able to support not only the students but the teachers. And when we come to the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the final stage, there is also the Super Bonanza that goes all the way to the finals, and then there's Good Energy Double champion. That one goes to the winner. So we want to make sure that they also are encouraged at the end of the day to not only become champions, but after they have learned, they will be able to utilize it for the benefits of society. And what better way to do than to inspire them with a Good Energy Award.
Thank you for inspiring the teachers as well, because that's a very important part of the whole quiz scheme. But tell us more about GOIL, because you see, the thing is, while GOIL is doing this, GOIL needs your patronage to continue supporting and to continue with this wonderful initiative. And there are a lot of products you have. There's a lot of new things happening at GOIL. Just share with us.
So, precisely, Benis, you know, at GOIL, what we believe is that the first thing that every Ghanaian should do is to support GOIL by patronizing our products, because we are not only indigenous marketing entity, but also sell quality products. Now, indigenous marketing entity, what our mantra is that when we say what we mean is that the company and it belongs to you and I. It is in the country. We have about 15 to 16,000 shareholders. At the end of every year, when they receive their shares, in terms of dividend, they, of course, reinvest back into the country. So, if you buy GOIL products, what you are doing is that you are investing into the economy. So, it is incumbent on every patriotic Ghanaian to be able to say that, well, Ghana, where we are going, we need to take the commanding heights of our economy on our own by supporting and patronizing our products. GOIL never goes anywhere. We don't take our profits anywhere. The profit stays in the country. That's the first step. Beyond the question of being an indigenous entity and a proud one as that, we also say that we have quality products. Super SP 95 has been tested to be very good with high octane. We also have an array of lubricants that we have. The same goes for diesel SP. So it is not only the fact that you patronize because it is a Ghanaian entity, but you also dish out very good products. And it is a very good way of supporting our local, what belongs to us. So GOIL is there for you and I. GOIL is there for Ghanaian. So every minute that you pass by a station, when you buy GOIL, know that you are investing in the future. In actual fact, you are even helping our city to become stabilized. You know what? Because if you patronize locally, what you do is that you help not the repatriation of the profits back into another person's country. The profit stays here. Economy becomes stronger because the city becomes very, very firm and strong.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Mr. Tre is here because GOIL PLC is a partnering sponsor of the NSMQ, our very wonderful quiz which has been running for 30 solid years. And I'm going to put you on the spot, Mr. Tre.
Please do.
Is your school participating? Yeah.
Yes, I have two schools.
Okay.
I don't know whether Senior Secondary School is still in.
Okay.
But Prempeh College is there. And you know Prempeh, the fees we have achieved.
Yes.
So, of course, I'll be rooting for them. And I just hope that this one, I know they'll beat me. It's not going to present this year. And I will be glad.
But you were so close last year.
Precisely.
Prempeh was so close.
Yes, but as a corporate entity, our interest is to also see to it that the lesser known schools come up, because we are talking about inclusivity. So if the lesser known schools come up and so it's able to shake the ground a bit, we'll be glad, because then we have invested into people who were not known and have come up to sort of unseat people. So we'll be glad.
And we're looking forward to that, for some major upsets in this year's edition.
That would be fantastic. What we are asking for is that there should be fair play and hard work, and may the best school win.
Thank you so much. Robert Tre is PR Manager, GOIL PLC, and they support the NSMQ, that's Primetime Limited, to bring you that wonderful quiz that happens annually. It's been running for 30 years. Let's now cross over to Kumasi. Emmanuel Bright-Quake, who's standing by with some of my colleagues in Kumasi. And we're looking forward to the 1/8 stage. We're done with the prelims, and they have some very interesting analysis for you.
Welcome to the Brunei Complex here on the KNUST campus, where we will be having a discussion on the 1/8 stage of the National Science and Math Quiz. And yesterday we had balloting for this particular stage. We are having some 81 schools slugging it out at this particular stage. And that is the 39 winners from the preliminary stages, and then 27 seeded schools from last year. We have some 3 other schools joining. That's because they won their regional championship. I'm talking about GSTS, Tamale Islamic Science Senior High School, and then Kumasi Anglican Senior High School. We also had some 12 schools from 12 schools with losing scores joining in this particular stage. But I will not be doing the discussion alone. I have my colleague Nana Boachi Dankwa Yadom here with me, and also Dr. Urija. He was once a contestant. He sat on the stage for the National Science and Math Quiz. And I would quickly want to run you through the contests that will be happening on the first day and have some short discussions on them. All the 27 contests that will be happening in the next 3 days from tomorrow, Wednesday, to Friday. And tomorrow, our first contest will feature Ganata SHS Wesley Girls High School and then Archbishop Porter Girls. We have the second contest being Ghana National in Prayeso Agri Memorial SHS. Bishop Herman is also on the third, Adidome and Olak Girls Home. Just so I don't bother you, I'll just quickly delve into the conversation. We are starting off with our top schools, the top schools that was in the finals last year. I'm talking about Presec Legon, Adisador College, and then Prempeh College, 5-time champions, and then Presec 7-time champions. Now, gentlemen, let's quickly delve into the conversation. Last year was really fun. We had so much fun during the finals. And I want to find out from Urija, these contests that we are having, Presec is facing off Konongo Dumasi and then Kumasi Wesley Girls. Do you think Presec or even the other schools are well prepared to face them?
I think it's a tough one. Those contests, the 3 finalists will be meeting are not that easy, because in the 1A stage, the questions are simple and there's no bit of ambiguity. So if you meet a relatively smaller school who knows their stuff, they are going to worry you in the 1A stage. And in this case, Konongo Dumasi did very well in the Ashanti regional qualifiers, and even in the championship during the speed race, their biology and their mathematics were on point. And we saw Kumasi Wesley Girls in the just ended preliminary stage contest. They also did very well. So I'm hoping they should give Presec Legon a run for their money. Hopefully Presec, they are going to win, but it wouldn't be easy. It wouldn't be easy.
All right, sure. My colleague Nana Boachi Dankwa Yadom actually monitored situations at the KNUST auditorium where we saw Konongo Dumasi giving us some impressive run. You've been interacting with the students. Tell us what has been happening.
Well, when it's about Konongo Dumasi, this has been an impressive run for them. Their performance out there was so beautiful. And they are promising an impressive contest, a fierce contest going into the 1/8 stage. You made mention of the schools that they'll be competing against. And for me, I think that with the performance they put out there during the preliminary stage, moving on to the 1/8 stage is going to be very fierce, because the students are very brilliant. In fact, every student here is very brilliant. But right as I was monitoring the contests that we'll be having tomorrow, on Thursday, and then on Friday, I can say as a matter of fact that going forward, we'll be having some tough contests.
Interestingly, we also have Kewege here, that's Kumasi Wesley Girls,
exactly.
In that particular contest. You monitored how the girls were shouting, jubilating, having fun. I think it was on the first day of the preliminary stages.
Yes.
How did they react, or how did they perform? You sat through the contest. Do you think they're a match for Presec Legon?
So talking about Kumasi Wesley Girls and then Presec Legon, for me, I think Wesley Girls, they have so much work to do. The preliminary stage was not so comfortable for them. Although they emerged winners of that contest, it was not so comfortable for them. Because when I was interacting with the ladies, they made mention of the fact that what they prepared for is not what actually came. They were expecting to go above what they got at the preliminary stage. And then after balloting for the 1/8 stage, look at who they are coming up against. They are coming to meet Presec Legon, the 7-time champions, and it's definitely going to be an interesting run during the 1/8 stage. So for me, Bright, I would say that going on to the 1/8 is going to be very difficult for Kumasi Wesley girls because Presec is quite prepared. You spoke to Presec yesterday when it's in fact they are really prepared and they want to make it to the finals again and clinch the ultimate.
Definitely. They came somewhere around Monday. That's when they arrived. And so far, they've been monitoring. I think they've been monitoring every other school to see how they are performing, even at the preliminary stage, in case they meet them. And they're putting in some strategies to ensure that once they meet them, they will beat them. Now, let's go into the other conversation. Adisado was in the finals last year. And this time round, it's a serious clash because I'm having Adisado meet St. Louis Senior High School and then Ebuakwa State College. Ebuakwa State College, I must tell you, when I went to the Eastern Regional Championship, they did so well during that particular contest. And St. Louis, so far, I can say St. Louis has been at the top of their game. Yurija, let me find out from you. You sometimes go to these schools and monitor how they perform. Do you think St. Louis can actually match Adisado?
Okay. I was telling some people yesterday, we've seen St. Louis kick out Kumasi High School in the 1/8 stage of competition. That was in 2018. And Kumasi High School ended up losing their seat. And this time they are coming up against Adisado College, who is a one-time champion, 6 times finalist. And it wouldn't be an easy contest. But I'm tipping the girls to win, all things being equal.
Really?
Because in this contest, Adisado have been coming up very funny. They start out very slow and they ride on people's mistakes in the true or false to win.
Definitely.
And this year, I was telling them yesterday that every school needs to be tested. In previous years, Prempeh have been getting a very tough 1/8 state contest. But this year it happens that Adisado and Presec Legon are having the tough ones.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping the girls will win because they've been doing well from their qualifiers to the regional championship to the just ended preliminary state contest. It wouldn't be an easy contest for Adisado. Even if Adisado is to win, it wouldn't be an easy contest. But I'm tipping the girls to win.
All right, so it's quite interesting. Let me quickly run you by this short announcement that the 2023 National Science and Math Quiz is produced by Prime Time Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with Goyle PLC and supported by AT, Prudential Life Insurance Ghana, Pepsodent Toothpaste, Better Malt, Accra College of Medicine, Academic City University College, Coronation Insurance, Ghanaian Academic and Research Network, Cowbell, Bell Beverages, Newmont, GTP, Africa World Airlines, and YFM. The broadcast of the National Science and Math Quiz on Joy News and the Joy Prime channels is supported by Vitamilk, NASCO, German Ozone Medical Center, Royal Foam, Jamal Soap, Heritage Christian College, Virtual Security Africa, Ace Medical Insurance, Chobos Technologies, Syntest Tank, DBS, Build Financial Technologies, Better Malt, and Family Health University College. Just before I go into other conversations, we have Prempeh College there. Prempeh is meeting TI Amas Fomena and then Navrongo SHS. Navrongo SHS, when I monitored their preliminary contest, it was quite intriguing because they beat other schools and you just wonder how they do it. People really underestimate them. Do you think they are going to really match Prempeh boot for boot in this particular contest?
Prempeh is a veteran when it comes to the NSMQ. Even though they lost the regional championship final to Anglican SHS, people are still underrating them. But as I always say, you shouldn't underestimate a champion. This contest is a no-brainer for Prempeh College. It wouldn't be a swift run because in the 1/8 stage, as I always say, Bright, the questions are easy. So we expect the schools to pick up at least their first round questions, and during the speed race the difference comes in, but Prempeh is making it to the quarterfinal once again.
Definitely. And now let's do quickly the clash before the clash of the Titans. That is St. Peter's, St. Augustine's, and then Ebri Girls. Nana, let me have your thoughts on that.
Well, St. Peter's, and then we have Abri Girls and St. Augustine's. Peter's and Augustine's, they've met before. They met in 1997. Most recent is their last contest in 2019. In 1997, interestingly, it was Peter's who they led for some time, but then Augustine's came in with a speed. So it was 93-63 as against St. Peter's. So for any time it is Peter's and Augustine's, Peter's quite win the contest. But then looking at the performance of Peter's yesterday against Wesley Girls High School, I don't think that they really match
because we were surprised
by
what they did.
I was surprised. I was so astonished because we never expected the outcome yesterday. What we saw yesterday was not history repeating itself. In fact, so I think moving on to their contest against St. Augustine's, Peters would have to master up. They have to put up their games. For Brick Girls, 2019, when they were knocked out by Pandu SHS and then Kumasi High School, Brick Girls have not really been so formidable when it comes to, or quite impressive when it comes to the National Science and Math Quiz. And then they are 2020 when they pulled out of the National Science and Math Quiz. So that contest, Bright, is going to be an interesting one.
Definitely going to be an interesting, and you do want to stick glued to your TV sets right here on the Joy News and Joy Prime channels for all the excitement that will be happening on the 1/8 stage of the National Science and Math Quiz. So, Bernice, this is what is currently happening. Today is a free day, so the students are all inside having some rest, and then tomorrow we will begin the 1/8 stage for every other school. Definitely, they are all hoping to get seeded. At least they should get seeded and not start their journey all the way from the regional qualification. So, this is what is happening here at the Brunei Complex on the KNUST campus. Over to you.
Hi there, thank you so much for staying on the AM show. I'm Bernice Abubedu-Lansa, and I've got, should I call him a young man? Is that okay to call you a young man? Okay, so I've got a young man in the studio with me who's doing some wonderful things when it comes to recognizing excellence in the male fraternity. Quite recently, we've seen women receive awards at the exclusive Men of the Year Awards, and he tells me it's because of inclusivity. But he'll be sharing more with us for the EMY Awards. And how long have you been doing this?
This is our 8th.
Wow.
It's not been a walk in the park.
I can imagine.
But we are grateful that every year we keep growing, we keep expanding. We keep staying through to the ethos of the brand.
So Kojo Sebo is founder and executive director of the EMY, and I mean, I'm happy to say that over the years we've had you on this platform talking about the event, and you just said something about staying true to the ethos of the brand, and I must say that it's quite a unique event they put together annually. But tell us how this whole initiative was birthed. Why the exclusive Men of the Year Awards?
Right. So it's two things. We realized that the formation of the male child had been left on autopilot. Before we came on air, I was having a discussion with you that I was very I didn't understand why Mother's Day, at the time, I didn't understand why Mother's Day got a lot of attention. And Father's Day sometimes comes and goes and nobody hears about it. And I was very intrigued by the answers that I got when I asked questions, or when my team asked questions. So for us, we didn't want to accept the status quo, because a lot of people said, oh, a lot of men are irresponsible, they relinquish their responsibility. But from the home that I come from, my mom and my dad, they all play their role really well, and they get equal, love. And so we felt that it was very important that we create a platform that will change that narrative, that will project positive role models, so that young people who unfortunately do not have positive models, male role models in their lives, will see some of these great men doing great stuff and be inspired and have a good outlook at the man. And so that's why we do that. We also wanted to create a platform that inspires greatness. And that is why over the years, the EMY Africa Awards has become such an aspirational platform that every young boy or every accomplished person wants to receive. We believe that it goes a long way to inspire a lot of people to work hard, and to work hard or aspire to their greater selves.
And I think that your own event is an attestation to hard work, because Definitely. You have gone into the Nigerian market. Right. We see the inflow of Nigerian products. Yes. It's usually not the other way around. Yeah. But you've been able to go to Nigeria and you had a soiree.
Yes, we did.
And you had big names. You had big names in attendance. Tell us the people who were there and what the event was about.
Right, so we had the likes of RMD, Richard Mofedamijo, we had Bovi, we had top businessmen, top businesswomen, top media people. I remember when I discussed with some people that I was going to do an event in Nigeria, we were like, oh, some of them did not say anything, but I could see the expression in their face. This guy is kidding. It's the barrier of entry in Nigeria is really, really high. They are very high. It's when it comes to events and the entertainment industry, their standards are really high. Even when it comes to simple invitations, sending people invitations, they expect you to do crazy things. And so it wasn't easy, but we've been planning this for years. So for the past 6 years, we've been awarding Nigerians every year.
At the Ghana event.
At the Ghana event. So we get them in to receive the award. And it's not just Nigerians. We've awarded a lot of people from across Africa because the EMY Africa Awards is actually an African award, being deployed, gradually. And so over the years, we've had people who've come receive awards, and they are always pleasantly surprised that this is quality production. This is world-class event. And so they become our natural ambassadors. They go in there and they talk about the event. So when we're ready to have an out of Ghana event, we had honored a lot of Nigerians more than any other African country. So we felt Nigeria was a spot, and of course Lagos. Everybody knows Lagos is like the New York of Africa, and so we had the event there, and because we had already honored a few people from there, it was easy. It wasn't easy, but we already had. Some people there who we already knew, so it was easy to fall on them, to connect to people. And so it was a very successful event. I think we trended number 2 in Nigeria.
Wow.
That very day, there was a Netflix event, there was a John Walker event, but ours was trending because we had the big names there, and it was a very successful event. We partnered with Mercedes-Benz Nigeria. We did the event in the Mercedes-Benz showroom. They have never done an event like that in their showroom. And so we're grateful for a good entry into the Nigerian markets. Next year, we are doing another soiree in Nigeria and another country, which will be announced shortly. So by God's grace, we are growing, we are expanding, and we are touching every part of Africa.
And thank you for also being a good ambassador for Ghana, because I think that what it also tells is the potential that we have to also do some of these world-class events. So thank you and your team.
Thank you.
So all these events are the pre-award events, but there's a big one.
Yes.
The big one that we all look forward to, where we see all the men in their
black ties,
and it's so beautiful.
It's a powerful evening.
It's so beautiful.
It's a powerful. There's somebody told me that it's very powerful to bring people together, and not just not any people, but powerful people. And so the EMY is a great platform where people come, they interact, they network. Prior to this, we had the Men of the Year party, which was an equally successful event.
You didn't invite us, by
forgive me. I would invite you next year. And then we also had the Treated Rights project, where we had Cheryl Lee Ralph, Hollywood star.
I remember
came
that
to Ghana.
one. Yeah, but I think we spoke to her.
Yes. Came to Ghana. We brought together all the females in the creative space, where she spoke to them and inspired them and impacted into them. And so it's been an incredible journey to the 8th EMY African Awards. We're looking forward to a beautiful evening of celebration, of entertainment, of networking. An unforgettable evening is what we are looking forward to. And we have a lot of Nigerians, we have a lot of Africans are coming in as well. So it's going to be exciting.
And when, where, how do we get to enjoy the experience?
Right. So it's happening on the 14th of October.
Okay.
Saturday 14th at the Grand Arena. It's invitational. So if you don't have an invitation, you have no business there. But if you want to be part of this, it's going to be aired live on Joy Prime TV.
Fantastic.
You guys have been our partners right from the onset. So we are very grateful to you. So you can catch it on Joy Prime, and I believe that our Dome TV is also going to show it. It's premium entertainment. It's an award that would inspire you. Get your kids, yourself and your kids sit and then watch some of these great people who have done tremendously well across Africa, being on it. And then I believe that your kids will be inspired to do great stuff.
Right. You just mentioned Joy Prime as one of your sponsors.
Yes.
But any others you want to acknowledge?
The multimedia group has been very gracious, very supportive over the years. We're very grateful. I want to thank the Diaspora Affairs Office of the President of Ghana for also being great partners. Our sponsors, 590 Mobile, Guel. I think I need to look on my... Yes, Ghana Tourism Authority has been great to us. Labadi Beach Hotel, Rhythms Africa, Arucha Ghana, Floral Ghana, DVO Ghana, Special Ice, Woodin, Caveman Watches, Baguette Ghana, Joe Pesky, M Pedigree, Aswavo Security, Ambience by Talata, and I think Jata Cement as well.
Wow.
So many sponsors, so many people who believe in the dream, believe that it's very important that we celebrate people to inspire greatness.
We quickly have to do this, but we have the opportunity to vote, right?
Oh no, voting has ended.
Voting has ended.
Yes. So we have just 5 voting categories.
Okay.
But most of the awards are honorary awards.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We wish you all the best, Kojo, and thank you for
I'm sure we
honoring
will
the
come
men.
here, to talk about the success of the event afterwards.
Definitely.
Thank
you so much. Kojo Sobo is founder and executive director of the EMY. That's the Exclusive Men of the Year Awards, and they've been doing this for 8 years running. They've gone into the Nigerian market. Great ambassadors for Ghana. So you want to catch this on the 14th of October on Joy Prime at 7 p.m. is it?
It's the red carpet starts at 6.
At 6, so yeah, programs 6, and then you can join the EMY team as we honor the men. And thank you for filling that gap that you recognize. That's how we end this edition of the AM show. I'm so grateful that you make time to join us, and to Sandra Roxon, a happy birthday. This is from Munkaila Abdul Razak, wishing you long life, good health, happiness, and wealth. A very happy birthday to you. And if today is your birthday, we wish you a happy birthday as well. So do stay with us here on your most credible news source. Benjamin and I are grateful to you. But up next is News Desk. Thanks for your company.